Hello, everyone. Welcome back to What Anna Said podcast. We're so excited to be here. It feels like it's been a little bit.
It's been a long time.
For sure.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since the last time that we've been on here. I know the last couple episodes we've introduced the scholarship again. We've talked about it. For those of our listeners, our loyal listeners that have been here since day one, you know that we started this last year. And so today is very special because not only are we going to dive into the scholarship, but we are going to share the full recap, especially since it has just wrapped up. So whether you are a supporter, you are a recipient, or you are just curious about how everything took place, we welcome you. We're so happy you're here. Let's go ahead and dive in.
So this scholarship is something that we started back last year.
Yes.
And we were so happy and excited to be able to get that pushed out because it's been a long idea.
Yeah.
A long
dreamt
idea that has been in our minds. And so to be able to bring that into reality was a dream come true. And then being able to join hands this year with the Mid-City Pacific Islanders Lions Club.
Yeah, so just like Sally said, we started this last year. And this scholarship definitely born out of a need to meet, to be able to support our young leaders in, communities that might be underrepresented or underserved. So we definitely wanted to make sure that we were there in the forefront, just helping all the kids, walking alongside them, just, letting them know, giving them that encouragement and meeting that need for families that may want to continue to pursue that higher education, but, the financial barriers are there. And so we believe that every single student, person, human being deserves that chance, without those barriers, those obstacles, that everybody deserves that chance. And so this is a really exciting time for us. It was something that like Sally said, it's a long dreamt dream, and to see it come to fruition, to see it manifest in such a way has been such a blessing. With this being the second year and all the students, every time, guys, it's such a beautiful thing to see. So Kim, why don't you share a little bit about your experience this year, especially with us doing this last year and now getting to do this again this year with a little bit more experience from how it went last year. Why don't you share a little bit about that with our listeners?
Sure, Anna. So for my experience from the last year to this year, as my sisters have said, lifelong vision made into reality. It is just so inspiring, even for me. I'm in it, but it's just inspiring myself, seeing these students, the impact, that we're able to make, even if it's just a small impact, but it means so much to us just to see that it can make a difference in at least one person's life. So this year has been tremendous for me and my husband, just to see everything take off, from all the planning that we have been doing behind the scenes, all the work that goes behind the scenes that nobody knows about. It is work for sure. There's a lot of work, but it is all worth it. And this year it was just such a beautiful ceremony to be able to partner with the Mid-City Pacific Islander Lions Club. Everything just came out so beautifully with the time that we had, and I couldn't be more proud of what we have accomplished so far.
So, just like Kim was saying, together, the Casitati Foundation, we were able to work together with the Mid-City Pacific Islanders Lions Club, which actually just established on April 7th of this year. So April 7th of this year, the club was established, being a really new club, really green, really new to everything, really, and still trying to build structure and still find our footing. The Mid-City Pacific Islanders Lions Club knew that we didn't want to miss this opportunity. School, we were established April 7th. And school was ending the next month. And so the biggest thing that we wanted to do was hit the ground running. And that's exactly what we were able to do. For those of you that don't know what the Lions Club is, it's actually an international organization, foundation. It is a global movement of service.
And it's over 100 years old.
It's over a century old. So just imagine all of the years and hard work and service that the Lions International Lions Club has done over all these years, and to be able to be part of that and partake in that, especially with the Lions Club being established here in HEB for Pacific Islanders community, it was a no-brainer to be able to work together and to come together to make this goal, to execute this goal, this dream that, we've all had for our kids in our community. It was a really beautiful thing for the neighborhood to come together, for our brothers and sisters to come together and to make this lasting impact and lasting change in the lives of these students, not just the recipients, but even in the lives of their family. And it's just a beautiful way to show and voice your support and your belief in each student. All of our students really have their own are all taking different paths, whether it's community college or trade school, or university. For your university, all of them have different goals in life and different ways that they're going about it, but they all have the same passion, desire, and drive, and they all were so inspiring. Sally, why don't you tell us some of the ways that their stories, I know that we have just like every scholarship where they have their own criterias to meet, and, before you can even consider them, but kind of tell us a little bit about our recipients and their stories and any of the stories that really stuck out to you.
There was definitely a story that stuck out to me. I would call it one of our underdogs. And so just seeing the things that she had to overcome, all the things that she went through in her life, the different places that she moved, the different tragedies and things that are just going on in her life. And then to see what she's wanting to pursue in her life. It was just really inspiring, because even now as an adult, when I'm going through my own hardships and trials and things, you still have to remember to keep pushing through. And just seeing how committed she was to get everything done at the last hour, or at the moment that she found out about the scholarship. Because, we'll talk about the morning of when it was the morning of the deadline, but just seeing the way that she moved so quickly to get things done and didn't procrastinate, that was really inspiring to me, and something that I'm reminded of as right now, as I think about her story of not procrastinating. Exactly. So that's this episode here that we've been needing to post, but life has been lifing, you guys.
Not an excuse.
Yes, definitely not an excuse. And I like that she didn't take any excuses of the things. And this recipient did share about it, at our award ceremony. So I can't wait to share some of those clips here and there. Be sure to follow our social medias. Please. That's where you'll see more information, Facebook, Instagram. And I just can't wait for everyone to be able to hear her story, how she normally procrastinated, but chose not to procrastinate this time. And she won an award.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the beautiful things that I myself have found out through this process and being a part of the scholarship board is reading through these stories. These kids have so much grit. These kids are so tenacious. They're just so determined in what they want and their goals. And I think back to myself in high school, and I don't think I was anywhere near that mindset, just being so sure of where I was going, what I wanted to do. And these kids are so inspiring. And I know that you might have heard me say that 1,000 times, and let this be 1,001, because I've meant it every single time I've said it. These kids inspire me, and we need them. Every time we come across a submission and I'm reading their stories and I'm just reading them pour out their heart on the page in the, in using all the words in the dictionary to tell us their story. And it's just so beautiful and honest, authentic, raw. It's just, I look at these kids, and just in the ways that they tell their story, you already see all that they are to be, to do. They really show who they are,
They really do, and that's what makes it so hard when it comes to the selection process.
For sure.
I know there were some tears shed. I know I was for sure shedding some tears, as I always do. Yeah. Because it's so hard to pick. And then when you when you read someone else's story and you're like, oh man, this, there's no doubt this is a winner. It's just it's just really hard because you want to award
everybody
that applies.
Right.
And hopefully, prayerfully, that will be the case. You know, that is definitely a goal to have, is to award everyone that applies.
Right.
It's just, it's not an easy process.
Right. Nothing makes me want to be a millionaire more than wanting to give all these kids a full right to school. All these kids are so deserving, and all these kids are worthy of winning. And that's the thing that makes it so tough, is that when we get these submissions and we're going through all of them, our heart is with each kid. Everybody's story stays with me. Everybody's stories, I'm thinking of it. And you know, whenever I'm doing anything throughout the day, I'll randomly think of one of these kids and their stories. And I think about how brave they are to be vulnerable, to put themselves out there, to try to get, you know, to try to get their story heard and possibly win one of the awards. And so it's just a brave thing. And I wish I could say that I was that brave at their age. I mean, these children are wonderful, and their parents, you know, have done a wonderful job. And it just because of, or in spite of, whatever circumstances that they have come out of, these children are just resilient. And I'm just always amazed at all of everything that they have to share with us. But talking about, going back to what you said earlier about, you know, the kids submitting their applications on time by the deadline, you did share about one that inspired you, and you said how hard she had worked to get everything in by the time that she had applied. Share a little bit more about the day of the deadline and the submissions and any of the challenges that we faced as we were rolling out this program.
Yeah, so going back, I believe it was in April that we first posted that we were accepting applications. It was the beginning of the month of April. And we made a video, we posted on our Facebook page. We made it to where the application was accessible, giving our students and those who were interested plenty of time to apply. And so getting closer to the day, the deadline day, that's when we realized, we woke up that morning. Obviously we all don't live together, but we know. But we all had the same thing on our mind, the deadline. The deadline was approaching. When we woke up that morning, I know I checked my phone and first I saw nothing. There were no applications at all. Then later on, I saw an application come in and everything was submitted, and I was so excited, but at the same time, very grieved that these students that we had created this scholarship for weren't just, I'm not sure what's going on, but they didn't apply. They did not apply yet. And so I remember texting you that morning. I said, or you texted me in the middle of me trying to text you, you texted me first, and you're like, am I seeing this correctly? And I was like, I was just about to text you. You're seeing it correctly. There's only one person there. And then we both came up with the idea, like without speaking to you or to anybody else, we all came up with the same conclusion, that we were going to open it up to all ethnicities, to any ethnicity. Because at this point, we also, while doing the scholarship, we also are partnering with God himself. You know, God has made a way for us to be able to do this last year. He has made a way for us to do this year. And even with all the obstacles, we know that God will always make a way. And we also know that God, sometimes the plans that we make ourselves, that God's plan is always going to prevail. It's always going to stand. It's always going to be the one. And so we believed, and still believe this day, that God knew that someone out there was praying for a scholarship, or praying for, you know, a certain need, and this was the way that God was going to answer. And so when we all had that same idea, there was no doubt in our mind that it was this was God's plan. And so we opened it. We all got together. We found sitters. We told our husbands, hey, watch the kids. We're heading out. We met up at the coffee shop, made that video that ended up being shared multiple times. And we waited. And those applications started to ripple on in.
Exactly, Sally. Just like listening to you go over, you know, recapping everything that went on the day of the deadline. I remember the night before the deadline, I was staying up all night. I didn't want to sleep. I was so tired, but I told my husband, no, I cannot sleep. I need to watch this thing because the submissions are going to begin to flood in. I just know it because that's the same way that it happened last year. And so I was ready. I was waiting. And I was anticipating all of these submissions because I was just so excited. I knew they were going to come in. It's the same thing that happened last year. And especially with this being the second year that we've done this, the community now knows of it. The seniors know of it. And so they're ready for it. And I just was so confident that it's okay. It's the last day. Nothing has come in. But, by 12 o'clock, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah. So close to midnight, I fell asleep. I thought I would stay up, but I think I fell asleep at maybe 11:30. I woke up so early in the morning and I checked and I didn't see anything at first. And I remember reaching out to my sister, to Sally, she's the tech wizard in our house, in our family. And I reached out to her and I said, am I looking at this right? Am I on the wrong email? Am I clicking the wrong link? Like, it's not clocking to me. Nothing's in here. There's no applications. What's going on? But just like Sally said, when we began this thing, it was not by our own efforts. No. Never. No. We would have never got into anything had we done this on our own accord. We definitely brought it to the Lord each time. Each time we made a move, each time we took a step, each time we were scared to go into the unknown, we definitely talked to the Lord and allowed him to direct our steps, whichever way that went. And so when I saw that there were no applications in there, I already knew in my heart that the Lord was moving, that he was working. And I knew that his hand was in this thing. And I knew that he knew that we had scholarships to give. And so just like you said, with that beautiful verse that says, there are many plans in a man's heart, but God's will stand. God's will prevail. So I knew that, okay, God, scratch my plans. Yeah. You have a plan and it will prevail. And no matter what happens here, you get the glory. Whatever happens here, it's for you. You are working something around. Somebody out there is praying. Somebody out there is looking for a sign. Somebody out there needs to know that people out here believe in them and you're working. And so I said, okay, God, let's see, okay, chessmate, I get it. And so that's exactly what we did. This scholarship, when we first created the scholarship, every intention and what it was specifically curated for was people of Pacific Islander descent. For our communities, we wanted to specifically reach out to our own communities. Yes, Hawaiian, Samoan, Fijian, Tongan, to Micronesians, Melanesians, Polynesians, all the Nesians. We wanted to make sure that we had this thing specifically for them, for our community, because it's so needed in our community. And whenever we woke up on the day of and it wasn't there, just like you said, we knew the Lord was moving and he was speaking and we heard him loud and clear. And that was to open the scholarship up to everybody. And that's exactly what we did. And let me tell you, we casted the net and we pulled and pulled and pulled. And it was a full, heavy net. They were just flooding in. Here came the applications. And we were so happy to get all these submissions. But we forgot that the hard part was coming. And that was
always the hard part. It's always the hard part.
Yeah. And that was to go over each and every submission. And so we saw, let me tell you guys that as soon as I read the first application, I knew exactly why God had us open it up. I saw exactly the kids that God had brought our way, that he moved our way, that he allowed us to have this part of their story. I saw stories jump off the page and smack me in the face about how needed this was for them. Not monetary, but just the power of belief. The power that there's strangers out there that believe in me, that want to support me, that want to cheer for me and want to root for me, and that have been praying for me. Because even though we didn't know who was going to apply, we prayed for this. We prayed over it, prayed that God would move things in place and move those who need it. Whoever it is that God needs us to reach out to, that this be that way, that this be the avenue that would happen. And God did exactly that. And so that's what we did. And when God calls you, you obey. Okay. And so we were obedient to that. And because of that, it was such a blessing to us. Such a blessing to us to read these stories, to hear just how, to hear to hear how needed this was for each and every recipient that came across that submission. It was overwhelming.
Yes, just like Anna said, it really truly was overwhelming. I remember the night of, we all gathered here in my house, and we had every single essay and application printed out, and we put them by each applicant that had applied, and we set them out on top of the table, and we took the time. We were here, and we went through each and every single application, read every single one. And let me tell you, to sit here and try to figure out, okay, this is my, this is one for sure. Then you read the next one. No, this one is it. And then by the time you already have 5, because we had 5 scholarships. And by that time, my hand's all filled with who I wanted, and I still want more to be on the list of 5. And just like, if we could be a millionaire and just we will be. Yes, I mean, we will. When we are millionaires, every single applicant. But that time, just playing back in my mind as I'm sitting here in my living room, thinking of when we were sitting here just a couple months ago, making that decision and taking the time to go one by one of who we chose, why we chose who we did. And at the same time, the main person that we knew that would make the end decision was God with every single selection that we chose, every applicant we chose. But every single story, just inspiring. It inspires me. I'm a stay-at-home mom, but it inspired me so much. Like, you know what? There was one applicant, one of the applicants that had applied for our application, and one of the things that she was pursuing was just higher education. She didn't know what exactly it was that she wanted to pursue, but she knew she wanted to pursue something higher and greater for herself. And I remember seeing that and thinking, yes, that's it. That's all what life is about, to continue to always become better, a little bit better every year, every step, every chance you take to become your purpose, what God created us for. So, yeah.
Yeah, just like Kim said, every single applicant is worthy. Everyone is worthy. Everybody that I've read, every submission that came across, worthy. Everyone a winner. And the biggest thing that we get to do is just to cheer everyone on and to just support everyone and just to pray over all these stories and over all these dreams and these visions. And reading the students of submissions about their dreams and their goals and aspirations, it helps me. It makes me dream. It makes me want to dream, and it fans the fire within each and every one of us. Like Kim said, Kim's like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I think that's just the most beautiful thing about this, is because it doesn't matter who you are, what you do. Everybody has a place to serve. Everybody's able to serve in whatever capacity, however that looks like to you. Like for Kim, being able to serve in that way. Something beautiful to me that we got to see this year that we didn't have last year was that the Little Champs, which is my sisters next to me, Sally and Kim, they have their homeschool co-op, and it's the Little Champs, and we've shared this many times why it's called Little Champs, but I'll share it again briefly here. And it's because growing up, Sally, my little sister right here, her nickname was champion, big champ. She was, well, her nickname was champion first. Champion. Sometimes you'll hear our nieces and our kids call her Auntie Pony, and that's because growing up I couldn't pronounce champion, so I would call her Poponi, and we would just shorthand that name, and now she's known as Pony. So if you ever hear my parents call her Pony or our kids call her Auntie Pony, it's because of that champion nickname she had growing up. Champion wasn't just a cute name that was given to her. Right. It was given to her because she was a real champion. Growing up, I was a little bit too nice to my friends, to the point where my friends would bully me, and I would say, "Oh yeah, thank you." And the champion would come and say like, not my sister. Go home, Jennifer. And so that's an inside joke. But that was the champion. And so Sally was always down to, she always held it down. And it was like, sometimes it was like, we don't need you to do that. You're chasing all my friends away. But that's definitely the champion. Well, I had another little sister after that, and it was Kim. And when Kim came, when she was born 10, 11 pounds, as big as she was, she looked like a champion already. And so when she was born, she was the second champion. So my dad would have to give his champions a different name. So he had the big champion and the small champion. Small champion, eventually the shorthand for that was small, and then he turned to Maul. So Maul comes from small champion. That's his Maul. And you always hear my dad and my mom call Kim, "Hi, Maul." It's from small champion. And they'll call Sally, "Hi, Pony." And that's from Poponi, the big champion. And so because they're both champions, it was a no-brainer. The name of their homeschool, they got 10 kids each, and so the name of their homeschool is the Little Champs. So all their kids are the Little Champs. And so I say that to say this, but this year it was just so beautiful because the Little Champs were actually a sponsor of one of our scholarships. And so that was a beautiful thing to see, and a beautiful thing to teach our kids too, is that even though that they're all this small and this little, they had a part in making a change in somebody else's life and making a lasting impact in somebody else's life. So that was a beautiful thing for me to see. That was really touching, and it was encouraging to me because it doesn't literally, whoever you are, you can have a part. You can make a difference. You can serve, and you can make a long-lasting impact.
Yes, and the Little Champs were so excited this year to be a sponsor for one of the scholarships. For those that don't know, we do have our dinner plate sales, and every single dinner plate that had been bought, the donation went into funding one of the scholarships.
Okay, we'll keep that in.
Just take it out.
Okay. We'll keep that in. Yeah, so just like Kim was saying with the Little Champs, that I'm sorry, I'm laughing because we keep having to record this part because Kim okay, I'm done. I just popped out. I'm done. Okay, just leave that in, whatever. But like Kim was saying, the Little Champs, they always have weekly, sometimes bi-weekly sales where they will cook up any kind of cuisine, most likely Tongan food, and they sell them, and all of the profit that they're making, they have been saving up and donating towards a scholarship, which is such an amazing thing to see because the kids are not only learning entrepreneurship, they're learning service, they're learning, how to lead with grace and how to have something that they believe in, that they're convicted of, that they're passionate about. And to see these little kids just come together and do something that's greater than them for a cause that they believe in has been such an inspiring thing to be a part of, to witness. Even if I wasn't so hands-on in this whole thing, it would still be something that's so amazing to see these little kids just coming together and having a goal and a purpose, and knowing that we're doing this not for us, not for their own selves, but for somebody else. That was a beautiful thing to see because giving gives you dignity. And I really believe in that no matter how much you have or how old you are, apparently, you always have a place to give. So with that being said, Little Champs was one of our sponsors, and we've had so many great sponsors this year. We had so many great community helpers just come around us that support the cause, that believe in these kids, which I'm so thankful and grateful for. And so, Sally, why don't you share a few words about the sponsors that we've had this year and just the great help that has come around us from our community?
Yes, Anna. Our sponsors this year, we had our return sponsor, Big Kahuna Sticker Shop.
That's right.
Definitely shout out for always doing these checks for us, those jumbo checks that we love so much.
They're so
all the
beautiful.
details, the beautiful checks.
Beautiful work.
Yes.
Sorry, can I just say something? Beautiful work, great customer service. They just work really well with us. They believe, not only are they working on the checks, but they really do believe in the cause. They're not doing it to get paid. They're not doing it for business. They do it because they believe in it. They do it because they want to be here and they want to support it. And that's just, I'm so thankful for their support over the years. And Big Kahuna, shout out to you guys, because you guys really make it happen every year. And I'm just so thankful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And shout out to Dave with Midwest Wrecking Services.
Yes. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say something again. Just thank you so much to David from Midwest Wrecking Services. Just thank you for hearing us out and believing in our story and wanting to support us. And not only that, but promoting us and helping us to get the word out there and just showing us different avenues and different resources, just really walking alongside us and helping us to see all that there could be. And I just love when, people want to walk alongside you, not just there, but also pushing you to be greater, pushing you to be more. And just thank you. Shout out to Dave for that, to David.
Yes, thank you, David. Also, shout out to Tiki Landscaping. Tiki Landscaping is our return sponsor from last year.
Yes.
And so shout out to you.
Yes.
We also would like to thank a new sponsor, Precision Road Services.
Yes.
Thank you so much for reading our vision and choosing to come alongside us.
Yes, exactly.
And
sorry, I just have a word. Just like you said, Tiki Landscaping for coming again this year. It's one thing to support, but for somebody to believe in the cause so much to return and do it again and again, just so thankful for that. Especially Tiki Landscaping, a small business, in the yate business, and being able to choosing to be a community partner, choosing to give back into the community in such a huge way, in a way that makes a lasting impact. That's amazing. Shout out to Tiki Landscaping. Also to Precision Road Services. Thank you so much for walking alongside us this year, seeing the vision. That's the thing, is because, once somebody sees the vision, that's when you're locked in. Yeah. And you believed in us from the moment that you heard our story. Not in us, but in the impact that this will make for kids in the community, in uplifting the community, in pushing us forward. Just thank you so much, because your generous support is what helps us to move forward, to continue pushing this thing and to continue strong. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. We also joined hands with the Mid-Cities Pacific Islanders Lions Club.
Yes.
So they got to sponsor 2 other separate checks. And so we thank you so much for seeing the vision, everybody that had an impact, everybody that had a helping hand.
Yes.
Thank you so much to all the people behind the Mid-Cities Pacific Islanders Lions Club.
And Central Baptist.
And Central Baptist Church was definitely
Yes.
one of our sponsors, allowing us to have a venue for the event, and just helping out in so many ways by just supporting and standing alongside with us.
Media.
Yes, sponsoring through their media. So we'll also add the link here in this YouTube video, so that you could also see the whole award ceremony itself, which was streamed by Central Baptist Church in Bedford. Thank you so much. And I hope I'm not missing anybody else. I feel like there might be some.
There's so many.
Yes, so we just really want to take this time to thank each and every one of our sponsors, and to those that have been supporting us from the beginning till now, from sharing to words of encouragement, and just the community. This really was a community effort, and we are just so blessed to be able to be the vessel to be for these kids. So just want to thank you guys.
Yes, that's right, Kim. We just want to express all the thanks and all the gratitude. Just thank you to everybody who's been so supportive. If you shared a post, you've been so instrumental in getting the word out there and spreading the word to our students, to our sponsors. Thank you for your support. Thank you to everybody in the village. Like Kim said, even all the Lions. In our Mid-City Pacific Islanders Lions Club that showed up, that came, that had a helping hand, that were there right alongside us to make sure that this was successful. To everybody that, was clapping their hands or rooting for us and just, you don't know how much that means. It really means a lot. And it's just such a wonderful thing to be able to do this again, the second year in a row. We're so grateful. We're so blessed. We're so thankful to be a part of such a wonderful community, especially here in HEB, here in the greatest state, first of all, here in Texas, the great big state of Texas. But we're just so thankful to have been able to do this again a second year. And, something that's so wonderful about this is because what started out as just us talking about it. Talking about it to ourselves and seeing this thing happen, seeing it take a life of its own. I'm so excited to see what will happen next year. The first year we did it, everything, we were just winging everything. And when I say winging it, I'm saying that God was doing everything and he was just leading us. And the verse that your word is the lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And I'm only seeing each step as I go. That's exactly what's happening and continues to happen. But God is faithful. And he saw this thing through this year. I'm just so thankful and grateful to have been obedient, to allow God to work, because I was blessed by it. And I'm so excited because we actually have some exciting stuff to share on our next episode and exciting guests. And y'all, I know it's been a minute. Yes. Okay, you don't have to scold me. We scold each other, and I'm just kidding. You do have to scold us. We need to get it back together. But we just wanted to go ahead and share that recap and thank everybody, because a lot of our listeners, really, you guys support us, not just on this podcast, but in every other thing that we're doing outside in our lives. And so thank you guys. Thank you guys for walking alongside us. We'll be back to our weekly episodes. We just got back from vacation. Woo-hoo! We're tan. We're sunburned. God is good. And we're just so happy to be able to do this. Thank you guys. We can't wait to talk to you guys again. We'll catch you on another episode of What Anna Said Podcast. Bye.